Hey friends, it's Amber. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to another coffee chat video.
Is this what you want now? Or is it because you can't forget?
If you're new to my channel, coffee chats are exactly what they sound like. It's a chance for us to just sit down, grab your beverage of choice, whether that's coffee, tea, water, whatever, and just talk about a certain topic that I think we need to lay out on the table. I am in peak cozy mode. I have my cozy blanket, my good coffee, this comfy sweatshirt on, because in today's chat I really just want to talk about self-care, especially what our self-care looks like in the next couple of days. Before I jump in, I just want to apologize in advance. I don't know why my radiator wanted to be a part of the video, so if you hear some background noise, like this weird hissing noise, it is my radiator. I'm sorry, I tried to get it under control before filming, but I didn't want to not put this video out, so hopefully it's not too distracting. I have my coffee in my new favorite mug. This actually came in a PR package. It says my weekend is all booked, but it's from this shop Hello Sunshine, which I think is Reese Witherspoon's company, so I will link it in the description. And I'm just drinking, my regular Nespresso coffees. I can't get enough of my Nespresso, but I'm in, like I said, peak cozy mode because I really want to talk about my self-care plan for the next couple of days and encourage you, if you haven't already, to make a self-care plan for yourself. Without recapping all of the anxieties that I'm sure we all have around this Tuesday's election and just everything going on in the world right now, from the pandemic to social justice to race relations and all of the above, I just really want to focus on how we are taking care of ourselves despite all the chaos going on. I'm filming this on Monday morning. I did take this entire week off work, not just because I wanted to have some space around Tuesday, but also because I just needed a break from my full-time job, just a break from balancing all of the things. I needed one thing off my plate, and that was the thing I decided to take off my plate for this week. I have the week off, and in a little while, actually later this afternoon, I'm going to head to New Jersey, to the suburbs, to stay with my dad for a couple of days, just because regardless of how things go, I knew I didn't want to be in the city, especially living downtown the day of the election. So I decided to not be. So I'm packing up my pounds of dirty laundry and all of my books and such, and just heading to my dad's for a couple of days. I'm hoping that everything will be relatively okay, whatever that means, and I'll be back either Wednesday or Thursday, because you all know I love being in my space, being in my own routines here. I think I feel very grounded and rooted when I'm in my house, but I think it'll be good to see my parents and my sister, and just to get some downtime with them, to get some quality time with them. We haven't been seeing each other often, obviously, due to COVID. So anytime that I can kind of just get away and spend a couple of days there, I'm grateful for. While I'm at my dad's, I really want to focus on being present. I think a large part of self-care is pulling yourself out of the what-if scenarios that you're running in your head, especially if you deal with anxiety. You're always running these counter plays and thinking of the worst case scenario, and I don't want to help myself do that. I don't want to assist myself in an anxiety spiral. So I'm at my dad's. I am putting myself on a very strict media diet. I'm unfollowing or muting a lot of people on Twitter. I follow a lot of journalists, a lot of pollsters, a lot of political analysts, just because I'm interested in that stuff. But I don't think that opening my feed and seeing back to back to back poll results or updates or articles or anything like that is going to be helpful for me in the next couple of days. So I'm just going to limit the amount of it that I seek out. If I want to check, I still do want to be informed. I want to know how things are going. I can go to the New York Times website or seek that information out, but I don't need to drown myself in it. I'm also unsubscribing from a lot of the podcasts that I listen to every day. Today is my last day with any of the pods. And then I'm gonna unsubscribe so I don't even feel tempted to go while I'm listening to other things and listen to an episode. So What a Day, Pod Save America, The Daily from the New York Times, NPR's podcast, all of them, I'm just going to temporarily unsubscribe until next week or so when I'm ready to check back in, if I'm ready to check back in. Those are probably the biggest things. I also need to go through, more than likely I'll go through my YouTube subscriptions, because there are definitely some, like I'm subscribed to the Crooked Media channel, which if you aren't familiar, Crooked Media is like a larger media network that is founded by a couple of former members of the Obama administration they have a ton of different political and pop culture shows, but I think right now I need to scale back, and I know that if I see it there, I'm going to watch it, so I'm just removing the temptation. I think sometimes we think of self-care as being like, I need to do a face mask and like treat myself really well, and those are important, but it's also important to be real with yourself and say like, I need to create an environment where I'm going to realistically thrive in a situation that is a little bit chaotic and where I'm not going to be like at my best already. It's already been a lot, like the past week in the city. If you've seen the headlines, you know there was a police killing in West Philadelphia last week. So everyone is already at a 12, and self-care for me right now is how do I make myself like not go up to a 14 and maybe come down to like a 9. Sorry if I'm rambling. I did not have notes for this because I just wanted to get like my thoughts out, and right now everything is just like a jumbled mess in my head, and I just needed to get it out, and hopefully it'll make sense once I'm editing. Another thing I'm going to do when I get to my dad's house is focus on reading. So it's November. November is NaNoWriMo, which is National Novel Writing Month, but I also participate in nonfiction November, which means I really only read nonfiction books throughout the entire month of November. Now, normally this works out great because there's so many like memoirs and other great nonfiction books that I want to get to, and I have a lot. I did a full blog post with my nonfiction November reading list, which will be linked in the description box, but I don't know if I'm going to be in the mood to read a heavy nonfiction. I'm currently reading The Only Plane in the Sky, which is an oral history of September 11th. I started yesterday and I got about 100 pages in. It's a brilliantly well done book, but it's also very, very heavy. Like my heart races as I'm reading this because it's literally like an oral recount from all the different perspectives of the terror attacks on 9/11. And then after that, the book I have on deck is Know My Name by Chanel Miller, who is the survivor of the Stanford rapes, the Brock Turner rape trial. So I've heard nothing but amazing things about this. So I'm reading The Only Plane in the Sky relatively quickly, so I think I could move on to Chanel Miller's book this week, especially because I am off of work, but I'm fully prepared to be in a headspace where anything too heavy, anything too serious is going to bring me down. So I did a little stop at Barnes & Noble and I picked up The Meltdown, The Wig, The Bitch, The Meltdown by Jay Manuel. If you are not familiar somehow, Jay Manuel is the infamous Mr. J. He was the creative director for all the photo shoots on America's Next Top Model. If you can't tell from the cover, this is obviously based in top model folklore. Like, is that folklore? Of course, he has said that everything in the book is fictional, but you see what I see. So I feel like this will just be another, it's not super long. I think it's just like over 300 something pages. Yeah, it's like 330 pages. It'll be fun. It'll be funny. I love that the tagline is "The devil also wears cheap shoes." Like, if I need something light to lift my spirits between all of the other heavy books that I have on the docket, that is what I'm going to reach for. So those are the 3 books that I'm going to bring with me, and I really want to spend more time reading and working on my novel. I was up late last night just filling in notes. I knew I didn't want to start my NaNoWriMo on a Sunday, so I'm officially drafting today. I knew I just wanted to make space for reading things that won't distract me from my manuscript, but then also giving myself time this week to just like feel the joy of working on a project that means so much to me. So I'll be bringing my laptop with me. I'm planning on writing in the mornings and in the evenings this week. I've already like jotted down a couple of lines, but I'll probably get the bulk of my writing done today once I'm at my dad's house later this afternoon. I'm just taking advantage of this week to fill my heart and my life with good stuff, because that's all I can control, and I refuse to stress myself out and put myself in an anxiety spiral over things that I can't control. I voted. I've volunteered, I've spread the word, I've encouraged others to vote, I've helped people figure out their voting plans, so it's time for me to let go a little bit and focus on taking care of myself. Aside from the books, aside from the media boundaries, I think it's also just important to make sure that you're communicating whatever boundaries you're setting with other people. We're not going to have a household that is like boundary beefing. Everyone is aligned with that. We're not going to obsess over the incoming results, the headlines, the news, all of that. I think there are also just little things that you can do to make your environment and the space around you just a little bit more peaceful, especially like I know I was able to take off work, but I know a lot of people aren't able to take off work. Like that is definitely a privilege that I'm very fortunate to have. One thing that really does it for me, especially in the fall season when it's like chilly outside, we're getting there, is candles. So I have already stocked up on like all of my Bath and Body Works candles, and I'm gonna take maybe 1 or 2 with me just to have around my dad's house with me. Like I have like a sweet pumpkin candle that was just gifted to me actually from someone. Just like those smells that kind of like instantly snap you back to a better time and place than maybe the one that you're in. I think that's helpful. Of course, I'll be journaling throughout the week as I always do, but I think if you need a prompt or something to go off of to help you channel your journaling, I just published on the blog a list of 30 journal prompts for the entire month of November. I will link that in the description box as well. But if you don't use any of those prompts, even if you just don't want to sit there and like spew a bunch of chaos onto a journal page, then I would just start with the prompts like, I'm grateful for this, and just fill the page with so much gratitude that it overcomes all of the anxiety and the stress that you're under, because it's so easy to sink into the bad, but it's also like easy to spiral into the good once you get yourself into that mindset. Because we're also still in the house, because still a pandemic, I recently ordered like a bunch of loungewear. If you follow me on Instagram, you saw that I shared most of what I got on stories, and once everything comes, I will do a blog post about kind of like my quarantine uniform. But I think make sure you're wearing comfy clothes. Like don't stress yourself out additionally trying to like put together crazy outfits or like show up on Zoom any kind of way. Like be comfortable, be relaxed, help your body know that it doesn't have to go into that flight or fight mode. The last thing I just want to share is, this has been such a heavy, dark year, but I think that even in big and small ways, we've all been fortunate to have these like small things, whether it's just being grateful for your health or whether you've had something amazing happen to you. I think now more than ever, we need to latch on to those happy things, those joyful moments, and elevate them in our lives. Like over the weekend, my best friends did a sex reveal party because they have a baby due in February, and that was incredible to watch. And they asked me to be the godmother of their daughter. So that is like the biggest joy that I've had in like the last 2 weeks. And I'm personally going to spend this week shopping for cute monogram baby blankets and onesies for my goddaughter. I'm not going to allow myself to seep into darkness when I have all this light that I can go towards instead. And while I'm anxious, yes, about the results, and while the results will impact me directly in major ways, there is literally nothing more that I can do. And if you've already voted and you've done all you can, there's nothing else that you can do either except take care of yourself, so do that. I know this video was a little bit all over the place. I kind of ranted, I sort of raved, but I hope you got something out of it. Be sure to check the description box for any links to things that I've mentioned, including links to all my social media and the blog. If you're not following me on Instagram or checking out the blog, please make sure you do that. There's tons of other great content there that I love putting out for all of you. If you are going to vote in person, whether you're dropping off a ballot or going to the polls tomorrow, please be careful, be safe, wear a mask, social distance as much as you can, drink water, eat something good, eat something green. Don't have all these beige stress plates. Don't just stop and get like the quickest thing you can find. Don't let yourself and your anxiety make you skip meals. Get sleep. If you need to put together a sleep routine, do that now. Watch what you consume. Be kind to people, be kind to yourselves, and just take care. I love you all. I hope that this time next week we are talking about positive, happy things in a positive direction that we're moving towards. And I am cautiously optimistic for what is to come. All right, thank you guys for watching. I will see you in the next one. Bye.
Is this what you want now? Feels like you're looking for